So, hi guys, welcome back to Overtime Heroics MMA. I'm Martin Hamilton. I'm joined today by Jeff Ackah. How you doing, Jeff?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
I am all good. I'm all good here. So, Jeff, you're just fresh off a victory at Rise and Conquer versus Jack Hardy. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling like I had said in my Instagram post. I feel like it was just a good learning experience. The guy was rangy. I guess uh, the basic thinking is that I can only do it mainly striking, but I led with my grappling, was able to control the fight and uh, take over and win the rounds, comfortably, and I was happy that there was no home cooking, as I call it. I was happy there was no home cooking because I knew intrinsically, I knew final I'd like won all the cards. The third round, I would not give it to him, but I would give him like a solid a plus for more activity in comparison to the rest of the rounds against me because he ended up also getting the takedown. And I heard his corner shouting like, "Oh, like you need to do something, Jack, because he's just holding you in position." So I knew I'd won. So, but outside of that bit of like positive from him, I felt comfortable the whole fight, and it was hard initiating the striking range with his range. So I had to mix up with a little bit of striking and grappling. But then I noticed that the grappling was doing the job, so I just stuck with it.
Because that was going to be one of my other questions. That it was a very hard fought fight. Did you see when you were standing up there at the end of the fight? Was there ever a moment that you thought this decision might not go my way?
Nah, I fully like. I don't know if you saw me at the end or if you saw the video stream. I was just walking around with my hands up, like
Yeah.
smiling, like just. I knew I'd won that. Like there was no one who was gonna tell me. I think one of his boys had. I overheard them saying that. Oh, like that was close. That could have been a draw, and I was like, Nah, I'm sorry, mate. Like, nah, I don't think so, man. Like, there's no way that was a draw, man. Like I said, I push you. You could be like, oh, he came a little bit better, and you score points for him in the third round for that takedown. But nah, I felt the judges were right. And I even had more respect for them because they gave it to me unanimously on all three cards. And that was his fight team's fight show. And I was the away fighter. So I was like, thank goodness there was no home cooking happening here, man. Like, so
Because that was a theme throughout, and it was very good to see that the judges were very fair. I
yeah,
think, let's see what it being like a team fish tank card. Like
yeah,
sometimes you kind of worry, but I think with their integrity as a team as well, that they wouldn't want to win that way. But do you know what I
yeah.
mean? They're very
They
similar
were
to what you guys are like.
Yeah, they were super nice guys, easy to talk to. Their coach was a good guy as well, Jack himself was a nice guy, just chatting away with him. So yeah, it was needed, man. It was needed. You freaking finally start losing weight, mate, to get down to your natural weight at 70 kilograms, so you can fight some people who are your height, and then the first person you fight is fucking Jack. So yeah, man.
Because that was the thing, like with Jack being a longer, rangier guy, what was like the key factors that you were focusing on in the lead up to this fight? Was it the grappling, like to kind of nullify the range?
Well, I was focusing on my striking. I did a bit of grappling as well, but the main thing was just to use the striking. But when I got in there and I felt that I was faster and sharper than him, I felt that I could get underneath him quicker. I felt that because I was technically, just like with him as well, he was an unknown entity for me. I'd only watch one video, and then I just kept training because at the end of the day, like you can't train for a video because people are constantly adapting and evolving. So he could have maybe in that last fight he wanted to work on strike, and that's why he struck that time. But this fight he might have wanted to work on his grappling. You don't know, so you can't just let the video dictate how you do your training. So I did. I watched the video, and then from there, I just focused on my striking. And I had a little bit of an injury, so I couldn't do as much wrestling as I wanted. So from there, I just took it from there, more striking, more striking, more striking to get sharp. And then when I was in there, I felt that he was biting on all my feints. So everything that I was selling, I felt that he was buying. So I felt that made it easier to get underneath him and to dictate the pace. Because even in the grappling, anytime I was like feinting or moving, he was like biting on it. And I initiated my first takedown from throwing my right kick, throwing across, and then rushing him against the cage and then getting him down, you know.
As you kind of mentioned there as well about not having a lot of footage to kind of study, do you feel that's a positive because you're not dwelling on your opponent too much? You're focusing on yourself and the improvements that you need to make.
Yeah, for sure. I feel, especially in amateur, it's a bit of a catch-22 because you also want to prepare because you want to be in good stead going into this. So you'd like to have as much information as you can, essentially like a scout report as much as you can on the team. I guess you'd be playing if you were playing football, you know. But the flip side of that is like it works best for both guys as well if you also don't know the other person's like skill set. So you go there on the day adapting on the fly as you go. And I think that in general will make you a better fighter. You know, like I think that will improve your skill level, your ability to adapt, your ring IQ, all these things I feel improve when you have a small idea of what the person is going to do. But then when you're in there, you're adapting constantly because as far as they are aware, if they saw footage of me, I was just a striker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was just a striker. And then when they went in there, I Habib'd his ass. So I was like, okay. So
Because that's the thing as well. Like your wrestling, it did look very impressive on the night, and we've seen him in your corner. But like one of your wrestling coach, Cammy Nicol, he's one of
yeah.
the very few guys in Scotland that's really competed at that like high level of wrestling, along with the likes of like Kieran Malone. How
Yep.
important is it to have someone like Cameron Nicol in your corner to take your wrestling to that other level?
It's incredibly important, man. Like, Cammy is like one of the best wrestlers or the best wrestler I've ever like trained with, and technically as well, he's got like such a passion for wrestling, you know. So that really helps. So combining that knowledge, because I was actually saying that to him when after the fight, combining his knowledge and Dean's knowledge to me was like very, very comfortable position to be in because every time they came in, Cammy will give me feedback on the grappling aspect, and then Dean will just give me a good overview on the whole fight. You know, one of the first things he said to me in the second, during the break for the first round, Dean was like, "This guy now thinks you're only a grappler. Now you can strike him if you want. You know what I mean? Just go out there." But I just felt like the grappling was getting the job done, so I just stacked to it. You know, I felt at my first time at 70, I was really comfortable. I got all 3 rounds in the bag, and the weight cut wasn't like hard for me. So I was like, and if I'm feeling the strength advantage, I'm gonna use the grappling until they get tired and think every time I dip my head or I faint, I'm gonna shoot, and then I can start striking. So yeah, it made a massive difference having Cammy in my corner and having that like that base because I've not been able to do as much wrestling as I wanted for this camp, but I'll definitely be doing more. Shout out to Cammy and Dean.
Because did you feel that without doing like a big weight cut that you had more energy in the tank to just complete the takedowns over and over and continue to take them down and be fresh at the start of each round?
Um, it's funny because this was my big weight cut. Any other my fights I fought in before was at 77 or 70, 75. You know, so and I walk around at 80 kilograms. So this was the first time I've ever fought at my natural weight. Like I said, I was looking for someone my size, and then
Yeah.
I got Jack. So this is the first time I ever made the lightweight category, and I felt very comfortable. And massive shout out to Jasmine Berg and Hamed who helped me with the weight cut. They made it so easy, you know, like. But yeah, I felt really comfortable making that weight. So I look forward to making it more going forward, you know, and I only get better at making it.
Because what adjustments did you end up making to be able to make that weight?
I brought in a nutritionist that helped. I felt that even though I know what I'm doing when it comes to nutrition, I think that little bit having someone just send you your meal plans and someone that you can talk to who just specializes in that field takes away that little bit of stress. So allows you to just focus on training, you know, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, you don't have to overthink it. You can just come home, look at your sheet, and just go into autopilot and make whatever you need to make, and then that's it. You don't have to do a whole like freaking Da Vinci Code solving Rubik's cube in your head of, oh, what can I eat? What did I eat the last time? You know what I mean? Like it's just easily slotted in. So that, for me personally, that made a difference. Being able to go and train with other gyms as well, because it's good to get bigger or body types my size, but in different varieties. So I was able to train with some other gyms who helped me, and they have really good guys that gave me different looks.
And I suppose as well, with having a nutritionist, it then gives you a form of accountability, that you've got someone to be accountable to for those days
Yeah,
that maybe you can't, maybe you want to eat a bit less lean, and it gives you someone for support for when you're having
yeah,
those bad days, just to kind of keep you on track as well.
yeah, yeah, definitely, mate. I had like a 30-minute call with my nutritionist, and he was just really helpful explaining things, going through things, and then he also then shot me a voice note of a recap. I think it was like a 6-minute recap of what to do pre-weigh-in, post-weigh-in, on the day, and that just made things so much easier for me, because like I said, in my mind, sometimes you have to be careful what you consume, because anything I've seen on weight cuts, like from 80 to 70, or from I guess lightweight to featherweight, guys are always like dying, killing themselves, looking like zombies, all this shit, man. And it's like I'm no word of lie. I'm not trying to big up anything, but see, when I was doing the weight, it was just like hanging about with your friends, having a laugh. We had like music on in the hotel, like we're doing our hot baths, doing the raps, talking shit, having a bit of banter, and then before you knew it, the weight was off. Like not once did I feel like, oh fuck, I'm feeling super lightheaded or nothing like that. So it definitely made a massive difference.
It sounds like it made the experience actually enjoyable. Like you enjoyed the build up to the fight. You were able to kind of
Yeah,
relax and kind of focus more on the fight and being mentally prepared for the fight, rather than,
yeah,
oh, I really hope this weight's coming off. And I feel like, just as you were talking there as well, this seems to be one of the main advancements that Scotland's starting to make in MMA, is about nutrition, like what to do after weight cuts, so you're in optimum condition before the fights. Because when you talk to guys that were like fighting 5-10 years ago, maybe even
mm.
less than that, what they say is they would weigh in and then they go outside and they would hammer like chicken balls from the Chinese or something, because and then they eat so much that they're sick everywhere.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
these are guys that are doing like same day weigh-ins and stuff like that.
yeah.
That couldn't have been good. So it's great to hear that Scotland's starting to kind of get ahead when it comes to like nutrition and starting to catch up.
Yeah, most definitely. I think like everybody is like, I don't know. I feel like every team from the Grip to the Scottish Hit Squad to Higher Level to Submission Factory to anyone else that you can add on that list is like their teams are getting more and more and more like professional. There's always like someone who will know a nutritionist, a physiotherapist. Like yeah, I feel like naturally as that goes on, like you said, the only people that benefit is Scottish MMA, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's been one of the main things that keeps coming up, especially when I'm talking to guys that are fighting amateur at the moment, is
Mm,
these guys that are amateurs. Well, I'm putting amateur in air quotes here, because you guys are having to train like professionals. You guys are
mm,
having to behave like professionals. You guys are having to get nutritionists in. You are having to work with strength and conditioning coaches. A
yeah,
lot of guys are having to work with like sports psychologists and stuff like
yep,
that. And this is at amateur level, just so when they finally make the pro ranks, they're able to keep up with the other
yeah.
guys. So
Definitely take that with you as you develop, and as they say, you trained like a professional before you're a professional, then that transition will be easy for you. Like I don't remember the last time we did 3-minute rounds, man. Most of all our camps are 5-minute rounds,
yeah.
sometimes 6-minute rounds, so it's like that constant pace is like you're just doing it all the time, all the time, all the time, so like you said, you're prepping, you're doing what you should be doing before you have to do it. So that way, when you have to do it, you're already used to it.
Yeah, it's that way. When you hit professional, like being a professional just comes natural. It's not like you're having to make this huge jump where you're having to maybe take 6 months to a year off to get your body in the condition to be a
No.
professional athlete it already is. But like after the fight, you showcased some like unique dance moves. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? Sorry, and was this pre-planned?
Big man said unique dancers, but I didn't pre-plan the dancers. I had a lot on in my personal life, and I do a lot of like care work and all that. So it was for me. I had a lot on for this fight, and then on top of that, first time making the weight, fighting someone who's what was it, bigger, more fight experience, the whole shebang, you know. So it made it easier for me to. Oh, excuse me. I don't know what happened there. It made it easier for me to just focus on. Oh, excuse me, mate. Sorry, mate. It was just a lot going on, so it was just kind of like that release of stress. I used to be a b-boy when I was a wee guy, so yeah, so break dancing and body popping and all that good stuff, man. You know, so I'm a massive fan of movement. Like when one of the guys I used to train with said it a while ago, and I look forward to that moment. He's like, the more you get comfortable in there, the more you'll be able to move like we know how you do in practice, you know, in terms of striking. So there's still more of those moves to come, but you'll see them in fight without the dancing, but just much more slick movement, you know. So, but yeah, that's just I used to be a break dancer, so that's where that comes from.
Oh, right. Because do you
Yeah.
like? Do you feel as well? Like, see, being a break dancer, that helps with your coordination when it comes to fighting. Because you see guys that had backgrounds in gymnastics and stuff
Yeah.
like that their flexibility ends up taking them to a different level in fighting.
I feel it helps. I'm also dyslexic, so I feel it helps because to me, how I view striking is like pattern recognition. So it's
Right.
like the same ideas that the same beats you'd get, like if you're like listening to music, is the same I would get it if I'm getting taught striking. To me, it's like whenever it sounds weird, mate, but like whenever I've watched someone hit pads, I know they're doing really good pads when it sounds like music to me, if that makes sense. Almost sounds like tap dancing. You hear that ta 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 ta. It's like it's got a rhythm to it when you hear someone hitting pads. Yeah, so to me, it made life easier for me when it comes to learning, being dyslexic, that I just catch things like that. And as my coach always used to say, because of that, you just look at things a little bit more in a different view, you know. So that's why I think one of the boys was telling me the commentary team was like, Jack is finding it hard to hit me because I had a very awkward stand up style, you know. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, that most definitely comes from that, you know, like, and being awkward is to me is an advantage because you're still hitting the person that you're supposed to, but you're doing something that they are not used to seeing every day. And if that gives me that 1 or 2 millisecond for you to start thinking instead of fighting me, then that means I'm hitting you while you're thinking, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, to be fair, and it's quite interesting to hear it broke down like that. How like different people interpret like hitting pads.
Mm.
Like a lot of guys kind of talk about like your brain kind of forms patterns, but I've never really heard it like summarized like that, like music. That's really interesting.
It is. It sounds weird, but to me, it sounds like if you've ever seen anyone do tap dancing, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like tap dancing whenever someone's hitting pads, and I can close my eyes and hear someone hit pads. And if it sounds like tap dancing to me specifically, I know they're doing like really good pads. It will be like fast slips in there, hooks in there, combos, pullbacks, all that stuff. But then sometimes you can hear just like boring thuds, and I'm like, without even opening my eyes, I'm like, that's a shite pad session. But that's just me, by the way. That's just me. Not everybody's like that, you know. So
because on the card as well, you had teammates Jassim Beg and Reese McEwen on the card alongside you. How important was this, and to go through like this fight with those guys experiencing it with you?
it was very important starting off for us with Jazz, man. Like that guy is like he's a vet in the game, and he's not even old. You know what I mean? Like I learned so much from Jazz on the road trip up because it was me, Jazz, and Hamed and Reese and Felder were in another car. So it was good time to spend with him. and Hamed outside of the gym. Those guys are some solid guys. So even in the weight cut, man, he was just like, from his experience, he just made it so much easier. So it made me quite comfortable when it came to the fight. And it's also a bit of like a tricky situation because you invested in your teammates, but you also have to stay mentally strong because just in that situation, that was a very, very solid, hard fought fight by Jazz for someone who had been out so long. But sadly, he didn't get the nod. But you still have to stay mentally tough and focused because you'll be up soon, like, and those guys were good at keeping the atmosphere positive. And likewise with Reese, man, like I had like time to just spend with Reese, like wandering around sunny Sunderland, and it was just nice to just like chill with the boys outside of the gym, and it was good to be like ringside supporting him, and likewise with him, man. Sadly, he lost his fight, but if anyone who knows Reese remembers correctly, the last time he lost an amateur, I think was against that Lewis something, and ever since then he's not lost a fight. So I personally think that he's actually both guys, him and Jazz, are gonna be more dangerous because you're gonna have a little pros and amateurs rubbing their hands together, like, oh, well, he's lost, he might not be that good. I'll take that fight, and then they're gonna get finessed. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're two guys that should never be underestimated. Like the guy that we fought, Luke Westwood, he was amazing. Like he was a great fighter, and he was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt as well. So when you're on the ground with guys like that, anything can kind of happen. It was a bit of a coin toss of a fight.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was a hard one. It's a hard one.
But do you like you were talking there about kind of like watching your other teammates? Do you watch them before your fight? So let's say like for example at the weekend, like Jazz was the second or third fight up, and you were a bit later on in the card. Do you watch them, or does that sometimes expend too much energy from you watching your teammates because you get so hyped?
Nah, I personally watch them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But in this particular one, I watch Jazz because I just wanted to support Jazz. I watch Reese because I wanted to support Reese. But I don't. I always remind myself, kind of like that small mental note that like if they lose, it's sad, but like you have to put that to one side, deal with what you have to deal with, and then you can worry about that. Like I guess essentially the emotional aspect about it later, because if you let that mess with your chain of thought, then before you go in there, you're not on the right track mentally for fighting someone, and that can be dangerous.
Yeah, and that was kind of the reason I was asking, because a lot of coaches have different schools of thought on this. Like some, see, especially if it's two big fights on the same card, like some coaches might not really necessarily like the guy that's fighting later on, watching the guy that's fighting earlier because they get so invested. And it's like they're cheering, they're like a fan. And like you notice when you're at fights and you're watching somebody that you really love, you get so invested in it and you're shouting.
You wound up.
Aye, and it takes a lot of energy out of you, I feel, as well. Like you're a bit like after it, you hit that kind of, it's like an adrenaline jump, an adrenaline dump.
Yeah. Most definitely, man. And I feel in those kind of situations, I just kind of go back to that mindset of like, life is uncertain, man. You know what I mean? Like, life is uncertain. The only thing which is certain is how you react to things and how you prepare for things. So, and likewise, going in there, I had mentally already prepared that, like, whatever happens in regards to my teammate, like, I'm still there to do a job. Like, I don't get too caught up in like the big picture thing. I just like small, like this book I'm reading is called like The Power Habit. It's a really good book, man, and I like the ideas from that. It's like small incremental habits then allow you to have big changes. So it's like you go out there, you support your teammate. Sadly, if he took an L, then you just go back to your routine of what you do every day. It's like focus on the small things that allow you to get the victory. The guy is not going to be throwing a jab any different than anyone else you've seen throw a jab or a hook or a cross or a kick. Like, so why would you change it just because sadly one of your teammates has lost or you're in the away camp? Actually should motivate you more, to like be sharper, be faster to win that fight. So for me personally, it didn't have an effect, but you never know. Like fighting is forever changing. So like I might change my mindset next time I fight, and I might just want to stay backstage. because like you said, it does rile up a lot of emotion inside you. So
Because like the fight card as well, Rise and Conquer, that was promoted, but one of the promoters on that was Bellator's own Andrew Fisher. Was this a motivator to you that someone at such a high level was watching over your fight?
I don't know, man. I only found out Andrew Fisher was in the dude's corner when like we got there, and I was like, oh shit, like this team's all right. They have like a team. I knew the guy was going to be legit anyway from what I saw of him, but then you come with the accolades of, like you said, Bellator guy. It's their home show. When you look at their card, it's like a lot of their guys. I was like, fair enough, man. But I almost kind of like catfished myself because I just told myself it's like instead of seeing it as pressure that the guy's there, it's like a privilege that then he gets to see you perform, and then when you're
Absolutely.
done, you know what I mean? When I'm done with it, he'll be like, who the fuck is that random cunt with the fucking dreadlocks, man? And like, why is he out here fucking breakdancing after he whooped my guy? You know, so it's like I just thought of it like, and that's how I have a lot of little like mental cues I say to myself, and I always think of it like that as like the three P's: pressure, perspective, and privilege. You know, like, and they're all interlinked because if your perspective on pressure changes, right, then it becomes a privilege because as much as there's a shitload of people there watching us fight, majority of those guys, if you really think about it, wishes they have the guts and they were in our position to compete. Because when it goes well, everybody loves you. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you're amazing, da da da. But like a lot of people can't deal with like I guess the pressure on the lead up to something like that. You know, and like having his corner, like you said, like his corner's got a Bellator guy in there. You see them backstage, you know, contact tattooed up to fuck. You know, MMA shows are, man. Like your
Yeah.
corner team can look like a fucking bad boy posse. You know what I mean? You're like, even if I whoop him, man, they might catch me outside and just be like, you know, like what you say, big man, you know. So, but like I noticed that corner team, and like I said, I just kind of changed my perspective on the whole thing, and I saw it more as like a positive. Because even who's the big boy? Is it Phil DeFries or something like that?
Yeah, he was refereeing the fights. He's the
Yeah,
KSW heavyweight champ.
yeah. Like that part. That was the only thing I was like. I saw his face when he was like patting me down, and I'm like, I know this fucking guy's face, but like, where do I know his face from? And then the whole time, like, even when I got into the cage and I was getting like ready to fight, I was like, who's that? How do I know this guy? And like, you know, and then I literally had to. I heard Dean shout like, Jeff, stay sharp, and I was like, okay, Jeff, come on, we're fighting here. But after I was like, by the way, who's that big guy? And I was like, oh, it's Phil. I was like, oh shit, I thought I know his face from somewhere, you know. So yeah, it was funny, man. But there's yeah, without me talking a pile of shit, yeah, it was good. It was slightly off-putting, but then, like I said, I quickly changed my mind as soon as I saw like his corner team, and I was like, "Fuck them!" And like, all due respect, I'm sure they're an amazing team, but you get where I'm coming from. In that mindset, you're like, "Fuck him, fuck his corner team." Like, I'm here to win, you know.
Because I imagine they might have get starstruck with your corner team as well. Like they see the likes of Dean Riley in there, and they might just have been. They're like, I know Dean for the
Yeah,
telly,
yeah,
Dean fought in Cage Warriors and
yeah,
stuff like that as well. So you've got a high level corner as well, and
yeah, 110%.
you come from a very well respected gym, and one of the gyms that come up in when people outside Scotland think of the gyms in Scotland, the Dinky Ninja
Mm.
Fight Team, and particularly like the likes of the Griphouse, it's one of the first names that will come off people's lips.
Yeah, for sure,
But,
100%.
but just the last question before I let you go on and get back to your Sunday. What's next?
Right now I'm just chilling, letting myself heal up from a few little tweaks. So hopefully by the end of next week I'll be just like taking over and that. I'm just chilling right now. I know that there's a fight show in February, so and Evolution of Combat. So the plan is to compete on that. If I'm not mistaken, off the top, I've got 11 weeks. So even if the little tweaks take a little longer to heal, and I start training like I want to, 8 weeks, 8 weeks is more than enough time, you know. But in the meanwhile, I'll just keep taking over swimming and just a little bit of rehab, strengthening stuff at the moment. But that's the plan. Evolution of Combat with hopefully with the same boys that I was on the show with. and even more boys from the grip, So that's my next plan.
Where's this Evolution of Combat looking like it's going to be?
Most likely in Glasgow, Mary Hill. I think they've done the exact same place they did the last time. If that, sorry.
Oh, I was just going. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if that's not the case, I'll definitely try and do some grappling competitions. And just keep developing, man. It's a never ending cycle, isn't it? So just keep developing, mate.
Do you not fancy it at if it's back at the equestrian centre and Kelly?
I never got to go to that one, but I heard that was a bit of a fucking madness, man. So I don't know if I want to be warming up and smelling fucking horse shit. So I'm good, man. But
it's the sand that must have got in between folks' toes. What? No?
I heard about that too, man. Like, nah, I'm okay, man. I'm not.
Like, it was mad. Even the ring girl was having to be carried. Like some guy. Some guy's job for the night was just to carry this lassie because she was wearing heels, so she couldn't walk along the sand. So somebody was having to lift her up. It was just
fuck that. That being fucking said, yo, the ring girl for that Rise and Conquer, fuck me, man. She was fucking fit as well, man. I was like trying to focus on my fight, and this girl's coming in here with these little numbers on. I'm like, hey, relax, man. Like, you know what I mean? One had a bad boy tattoo like up her fucking torso, and I was like, yo. And Dean's like, focus. I'm like, listen, I'm focusing on that fucking ass. You know what I mean? Like, shit was powerful, man. But it's mad. But anyway, shit. Actually, just remember this is being recorded. Never mind what I said. Rise and Conquer, amazing show. But yeah, that's it, man. Like, so hopefully February with the boys, and that's it, man. Just keep developing, man. It's a journey.
But thanks very much, Jeff, for your time today. Is there anyone that you want to just shout out before we wrap up the interview?
Yeah, for sure, man. Just the coaches of the Griphouse, Dean Riley, Cammy Nicol for helping me as well. Reese, Hamed, Jazz, all the boys. Reese, Hamed, Jazz, all the boys of the Griphouse. Everybody who's going to be competing. Some of the guys as well in the Thai team who helped me get ready, like Charlie and that, and like overall just people who help me out. My friends, Danny, Boris, just people who are just supportive, man. I appreciate it, and including even gyms like higher level who allowed me, James, to come and use their space and let me get some training in with their guys, man. Just appreciative, and thank you very much, man. And thank you guys as well for having me on your platform, man. Like, I'm just twiddling away here on my little MMA record, but you guys felt you'd want me on your platform, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No worries, and no doubt it won't be the last time we have you on as well. So we'll have you on again.
Most definitely.
But thanks very much for listening, guys, and thanks very much, Jeff. It's been really appreciated to take time at your Sunday.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Pleasure having a chat with you. If you want to give me a heads up, I'm on Instagram at j.ackah. Ackah. That's it, man. So it's j.ackah. And then that's me. All right. See you next time.
See you later.
All right. Cheers, mate. Bye.